So you may know that a little show called Interview Vampire is getting its third season in June 7th, right?
Yep.
Okay, June
It's the 7th.
And and we have talked a lot about Interview Vampire on this channel.
Just a little bit.
It's a little bit. We did a whole like live watch of season 2. And we also talked about it on our podcast, where we talked about it through the lens of intersectionality as it pertains to race, gender, and sexuality. If you haven't listened to that, you should go listen to that as well, because that's fun. But with the with the new season coming out, we decided that we should do a rewatch. It's been a long time since I personally have watched season 1.
Same, TBH. Which is kind of crazy.
Because when it first came out, I watched that first episode so many fucking times. But, it's time to return and make sure it's fresh in my head before this upcoming season. And we also realized we haven't really talked about the first season on this channel. So we decided to do a recap and discussion with the rest of y'all.
Yeah, jog your memory, kind of look at things and see how we feel about them in a retrospective, like season 2. There's a little cat that just walked into the room. That's fine. She's gonna do that.
She's gonna do what she wants.
Yeah.
That's something you have to get used to on this channel. My cat walking in and out whenever she wants, because she cannot be controlled.
Yeah, she cannot be controlled. She cannot be contained.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we just thought it'd be fun to kind of go through, talk a little bit about like the episodes and, leading up to season 3.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because it's coming a lot close, like sooner than I think it is every single time. When we were like counting the weeks, we're like, we don't have that much time.
I know. We really don't, when it felt so long ago.
Yeah, I kept being like, oh my God, it's never going to happen. And now I'm like, oh my God, everybody, it's happening.
Yes. It's happening. Everything's on fire and it's happening. Anyways, so if this is your first time here, you're like, who the fuck even are you? We are two goths in a coffin. I'm Amari. My pronouns are
Jude.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Never. Go ahead.
I'm so used to us just saying our names. I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah. We usually don't say our pronouns anymore, huh? We did the first time.
Yeah, because they're
put
like
them at the bottom.
Yeah, they're on the bottom usually.
My name is Amari. This is Jude. As we are recording this is also Jude's birthday.
It's my birthday.
But is it going to stop me from bullying them?
No.
Not that I bully them or anything, because I'm an angel and I never do anything wrong. Anyways, anywho, let's get started in this conversation. Let's start talking. So we're going to cover episodes 1 through 3.
Yeah, in this first chunk.
So, episode 1 of Interview with the Vampire. This is when we're introduced to these fantastic characters and
this crazy story.
So yeah, when we start off, we are actually first introduced to Daniel.
Yeah, so we start with the class. Yeah, the ad for his class, which I also thought was really interesting. I don't know. There's a lot of like Daniel putting on a front for who he's going to be in every like certain situations and whatever.
Yeah.
And when I was watching this one, I was like, I don't know. Like he simultaneously is like trying to give off a very certain persona, but also clearly doesn't really care about the internet class either. Like he's just like literally ends it with, "It's your money," which is... Okay.
And then he gets a letter from a mysterious person, my wife.
Yeah, so he gets a package. It has all of these tapes that have like these dates that date back to the 1970s, and it plays lines from the original interview, and we get the letter from Louis inviting Daniel to come back and let's take one more shot at this interview.
Right.
Yeah.
And he goes in the middle of a pandemic. Wow, that's crazy that I don't know. It's crazy to think about the fact that they like just kept that all in. It worked. And then we are in Dubai. You know, immediately things are tense because, you know, the history.
Yeah. I also was thinking when I was watching this that they all kind of come, I don't know. I kept thinking they all showed up in costume. Like Daniel's like,
oh yeah,
I've come like with this armor of like I'm now a seasoned professional and I'm not gonna like take any shit the way I was last time. I'm not stupid anymore, and like is really like pushing because last time he felt like he was steamrolled over. Not saying he wasn't, but also, you know,
and
Louis coming,
like,
with this like air of maturity. He's like,
mm-hmm.
I'm not the guy I was back then. I have control over my emotions and I'm not like wrapped up in all of it anymore. And of course, Armand is in a Halloween costume.
Is for his sexy role play with
with
Louis.
Imitating their real life head of staff, I guess, Rashid.
But you know, with his titties out because
in this first one he's fairly demure.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
It gets more and more as it goes on.
He's not wearing that low V quite yet. Not way down there. You know, he had to, warm everyone up first.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they get into Louis' story. He starts telling his story again. And we are immediately introduced to baby human Louis. I can't get over how baby Jacob looks in episode 1. Yeah. I'm like, you're an infant. Oh, you're an infant. Your thing happened? Like, I think your thing like
it's okay. Fell. It just fell off.
I was
like, I'm like, there's a ghost. It's okay. No worries. Okay, yeah, like we get this introduction and like what the new backstory for Louis is in this show version of it all, which still a questionable line of work.
Yeah,
and this is something,
it's not great.
It's not great, and like I feel like these first 3 episodes are like a big conversation about like Louis and who he's gonna like, who Louis has been, who Louis wants to be, and who like Louis trying to figure out what he's gonna be. And this first episode is very much who Louis had to be in his life, and so we see him putting on a kind of more like a tough guy persona when he's talking to Finn O'Shea, his like his I guess his muscle. I don't know what we call Finn O'Shea.
We say fuck him, but whatever.
Yeah, that's not his title. But yeah, and I think this first scene we see of him at work, I think sets up a lot of immediate social tensions for Louis. One, he's having to kind of coddle this white guy, Alderman Fenwick, when I think in another establishment he might have been able to be like, get the fuck out of my building. But he has to kind of like coddle him, for lack of a better word. But at the expense of Bricktop, a black woman.
Right.
And like Louis spends that whole scene scolding her and like, trying to fix the situation. And it's to me the introduction of a troubling pattern of behavior. I feel like that wrestling with what type of like what privileges Louis has, the privileges he has, he really leans on them,
right? And the lack of privileges that he wish
he has, he deeply resents.
Yeah.
And then we're introduced to his brother Paul,
my baby. I love him very much. Steven does a fantastic job portraying Paul. And when I was rewatching it, I was telling Jude, I was like, more people need to talk about what a wonderful job he does.
He does a great performance.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I know we only get like 1 episode with him, but like he makes such an impact, and obviously the character makes such an impact on Louis and continues to stay with him throughout the entire show, first and second season. Jude actually mentioned something really interesting also the other day, that like there's a lot of different like aspects of Paul and like all of the other folks that he like has relationships with moving forward. And I thought that was super. I was like, that's true. Even Daniel. And I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
I
there's
never thought
echoes of
about Daniel.
Paul
Everyone else
in
I could
everybody.
see, but yeah, Paul and everybody.
But yeah, and so in this moment also is when he's first observed by Lestat, and Lestat becomes
Get away
fixated on
from
him.
her! Oh.
Yeah. And then, you know, the next time they actually meet formally is in the Fair Play Saloon, where Louis is going to talk to Lily, because he goes to Lily whenever he's trying to fight the gay thoughts. Because it helps keep up this like facade that appearances. He visits this woman in the brothel. Like, you know, like,
yeah,
it helps him have like a cover.
Yeah.
But when he goes, there's Lestat. And like, I know this scene is Lestat being so annoying, but also every time I see this scene, I'm like, they perfectly encapsulated Lestat as a character instantly in that first scene.
Yeah.
That is like, I remember when I first watched it, I was like a lot of people, I was like, I don't know about this Sam guy playing Lestat. And then I saw that first scene, I was like, I don't have any worries. He perfectly gets all like the beats of Lestat there. But there's like, you know, they kind of set up a lot of the tension. I feel like they set up all of the tensions immediately in this first episode. Where like, yeah, between like Lestat and Louis, like Lestat talking about him like a mixture of micro and macro aggressions in this first conversation.
Absolutely. And him talking like he knows what he's talking about, like talking like he's really informed and he's like really in with like when it comes to like racial dynamics, but then like also very obviously ignorant as fuck. And like just it's so maddening. And Louis is like, his face. I took a screenshot of his face there.
And sent it to me, and I was like, this is a perfect face. But yeah, and then it leads up to this scene that to me, I was like, this is so deeply uncomfortable. Like when they're both kind of auctioning for Lily, like just putting down more and more money until Lestat ultimately wins. And it's like, when Louis talks about feeling emasculated, I think that's another element of like that Louis is trying to reach a certain type of patriarchy. He wants to have all of the benefits of being like, he has the money and like the kind of like some he's being invited to the card table, you know, but he wants that last little bit and he doesn't have it, but Lestat does. And so he says in that scene, like, I want to kill the man, I want to be the man. And like, there is that kind of like, you know, I don't want to say envy. What's the word? Like he's like, there's a power that Lestat has in a lot of ways. I mean, he
desires
like wants.
He desires a privilege. Like he wants that quiet luxury that is afforded to white men, especially white men of that class. And he's even with the money he has, even with like his business smarts and whatever, he's never going to be allowed to be in that club. And he desires it. He desires it so much that in the very next scene, we see him at, like you said, the card table with all the other like rich white men in that town.
Yeah, and I love that shot.
And it's so there's something so sinister about it. Because I'm like, you're really putting yourself at risk here to be in this club that you're not going to actually ever be able to actually be in.
Yeah. And like, I had noticed this time going around that like he's kind of surrounded by like hunting memorabilia. Like there's like the trophies on the wall, and there's all these hunting dogs like paintings of hunting dogs surrounding the table. And this is like the conversation, like, you know,
adds to the sinister
this like
energy.
really sinister conversation. And like this scene that I think about a lot, especially as like the next couple episodes happen, where Lestat, you know, pauses time to have this conversation where he's like, racism's bad. But then when he unpauses the conversation, he sides with the white guys because he's not going to take that social hit to like go against them.
And that comes back around again in future episodes. The very next episode, which I guess we can just, you know, we'll go chronologically, but like he's willing to, in order not to take that social hit, he's willing to sacrifice Louis' comfort. And I don't know, it's not great. It's not great. It's not great.
No.
But yeah, they continue to hang out. You know, we all know, you know, Louis calling Lestat. You know, he's not quite white. He's French, so it's a different kind of white. He gets invited to the family dinner. Lestat, you know, he comes and it's kind of a shit show. Paul, my guy, he doesn't let up on Lestat. He doesn't let up on anyone. I love how he goes in on Levy. I'm like, you know, he kind of deserves it.
I'm like, Levy hasn't done anything yet.
Not yet.
What does he do?
He's just annoying. Like, he's just annoying. I'm not fucking with him.
Annoying in what way?
I'm not fucking with him. Okay. Actually, Paul was right. He will never be Florence's real son. Okay. And yet he starts trying to act all like, I don't know. You know, he doesn't know how to. He needs to check himself a little bit.
But yeah, there's like a that whole thing. I find it really interesting in that scene how like Lestat, you feel him like trying to like be like normal and have like normal conversations until the exact moment he like decides to just ruin dinner. And it's like it's such a interesting scene, I think, too, with like it's, I don't know, whenever there's a certain type of thing I'm like, this is so inappropriate, and I'm like, but he just doesn't feel like he needs to, I don't want to say behave in any situation or like conform to any social rules. He just like does whatever he wants, and then it's like
who he is.
Yeah. But it's like at the expense of, it looks bad. It makes Louis look bad to them because this is the guy who he's spending all his time with. And then he shows up and he does this thing at the table. And now that's like another layer, another thing against Louis with them.
Right.
Because it's supposed to be like an olive branch. We all know, like, it's the unspoken rule. And when Paul breaches it, like, he's addressing the thing that they all have agreed to not address, which is Louis' sexuality. And now the guy that Louis is hanging out with is a fucking asshole. Like, on top of it, he's white. On top of it, he's weird. Like, he's weird. He's weird and like kind of dangerous. There's something off about him.
Right.
So now it looks bad on Louis. Especially because Louis, well, not for much longer, but like keeps spending time with this guy and like goes home with him. Well, he walks with him home, and we were talking about this scene that like there's a lot of things here that are like put in place to kind of like allow Louis to feel like he can engage in this moment, but like they also put him in a weird spot, right? Like, Scott has Lily there so that when Louis enters the house, it's not as weird. You know, Lily's in the house.
Yeah.
So, like, but also then it looks weird if Louis decides, actually, I don't want to do this. Like, if Louis wasn't into it, then it looks weird as well. And so he goes in, and then like Lestat's just kind of like pushing, and he doesn't really ask anything. He just keeps like pushing and escalating the situation. And it's just like, because he's like, you need to let go. And like, you know, Louis says later that like he never really allowed himself to let go. It was like a very like, he would have to have a couple drinks and then have these shameful encounters sort of situation.
Right.
But the thing that I brought up, which is that my mom watched this show, but she watched this whole scene and was like, whatever. But then she got really upset when Lestat bit Louis because she was like, he didn't even ask.
Which
And I'm
is
like, there,
true.
yeah, he didn't. And there's like the inherent like dubious consent of vampirism in general, but like it is like,
it is
you know,
it is a little dubious. Like on one hand, sure, it does. It allowed for Louis to kind of let go and feel, I guess, quote unquote, like he was able to just engage in this with Lestat. But also when it comes to like the vampirism part, him biting him completely changes the relationship and completely changes how Louis feels about him without really giving him the chance to like voice if he wants this or not. And so now they're inexplicably tied, and
yeah. And then it
he
actually is
has
the
he
thing that,
has
yeah.
he has Lestat in his head now. Like there is no choice in the matter for him. So I do think it is very like dubious and it's very complex.
Yeah. And it drives Louis away. Louis like
Yeah.
he chooses in that moment to not come back for some time, at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe more. I don't know. Time is wonky. But yeah, so then we get the Grace's wedding, kind of like Louis' last
That's
moments of
my
happiness.
favorite thing in this whole one of my favorite things in this whole fucking show, because it's one is so fucking black and I just fucking love it. Like honestly, if I could just get more of this, that would be amazing. And I know that Louis is a little detached from everything at this point, but there's something so special about that scene and so beautiful, and seeing Louis just have a good time. It was, and actually like be in a good place for a moment with his family. It was just so beautiful to see. But then the
Yeah.
most tragic thing, one of the most tragic things in this whole entire show, when Paul commits suicide.
Yeah.
Fucking devastating. Still devastating watching it the like 100th time. And then Louis immediately being like blamed for it all by his mother. That's something I can't get over either. I'm like, Florence, like, what's wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
But that Paul's death changes everything for Louis forever.
There's something, because I remember one of the things that I was thinking about whenever I watched this first episode is like Louis' insistence when Daniel says the eldest son and then Louis corrects him for some reason to say the favored son, even though he is still the eldest son, but he kind of like feels the need to like emphasize that he was also the only choice for being the one to run the business. But then in this moment, he is the least favorite, and I think he's always been on a precarious like in a precarious like situation when it comes to Florence. So like any false move and he's out.
Right.
Any false move and he has proven that he is not someone that she wants to continue having in her life.
Right.
Or someone that she doesn't, I don't know. There's like it's like a conditional, deep conditions. And this moment is where you kind of see him plummet out of the favored son, like classification, I suppose. He loses that title. He is the least favorite, and that's
so heartbreaking.
It's very heartbreaking.
And like all these things come together for him to be extremely vulnerable. When Lestat comes walking around, walking on up to his brother's fucking funeral, causing fucking trouble. Like, what is wrong with you, man? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, Lestat does leave for a moment, but he stays in fucking Louis' head. Louis can't get him out of his head. He tries to go find Lily, and then finds out that Lily has been dead for 2 weeks. And we all know this is another thing I'm never forgiving you for, Lestat. There's like a little cat here on my nail. I'm never forgiving you for this, Lestat. I'm never forgiving you for Lily. Because, like, I fucking love Lily. And I guess, however, once he does find this out.
Yeah, he then goes to his last resort, the church, and gives the scene that should have won him an Emmy. I remember when I saw that scene, I was like, this is television.
The way I felt watching this, the fact that Jacob didn't get all the fucking awards.
Yeah.
I will never get over it. I will never get over it. It was the most, it was so good, so gut-wrenching. Jacob, you deserve everything for that. The monologue, fantastic. The rest of the scene, also fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, this whole, this last part of episode 1 is just so beautiful. I'm like, we're never gonna get this ever again. I'm never gonna feel this way about anything else ever again. The closest, season 2, episode 5, episode 1 of season 1 and episode 5 of season 2 are like the best pieces of television I've ever seen.
Those were two episodes I watched that I was like, life. I'm gonna spend the rest of my life chasing this high.
They changed my fucking life. Like, goddamn. But I will say there is one thing, and I know it kind of been on Lestat's ass a little bit, but he can take it. Well, anyways. Oh my god. I wish I had wine. I didn't know we were having a wine party, but whatever. I'll forgive them because it's their birthday. Anyway, so like the one thing about this is that Lestat promises here basically to remove all these chains, remove all these expectations from Louis. He doesn't really tell him what this all entails, first of all. And I think this is very important for later on as we go, because I feel a lot of people do too much on Louis about like how he doesn't just take the vampirism, but Louis doesn't know the conditions. He's already in a very vulnerable spot. Like, he's been drinking. He's literally just saw Lestat smash someone's head in. And then he's saying all these very like beautiful things to him. And like what else? Like, what else does he do? Like, what else is he supposed to do? He's lost everything. He feel like he's lost everyone. And here's this man like offering him his heart. And what else is Louis gonna do? But Lestat's also offering this freedom of like just like all these expectations. However, we see later on that that's not really the reality, because Lestat actually has expectations that Louis doesn't quite meet. And I feel like we get into that more as we go in through the season. But
we get like I feel the same way. I'm like, this scene is absolutely amazing.
Beautiful.
It's just
love it.
It's great.
Love it. So 10 across the board. But yeah, so we spent so much talking about this one. We kind of almost spent the whole time that we were playing it, but whatever. Haha. So not season 2, episode 2.
Yeah, episode 2. Was it After Phantoms of Your Former Self? Which, man, what a good title. I know like all these are lines from the book, but like
it's so fantastic.
They chose well.
And they chose well. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because this one really is like Louis is now newly a vampire, but he's also like still trying to be a person. He's trying to he's like, I can continue my human life and start my new vampiric life, and nothing there's no compromise that needs to be made.
Yeah.
He's like, I can have it all. And it's like, he may not be able to have it all. So yeah, it starts with the one of the only scenes that doesn't have Louis in it, which is between Rashid and Daniel, where they talk about the Marius
Not real
painting.
Rashid.
Not real Rashid. Fake Rashid. Which I can't get too much into this painting, but I have a lot of thoughts about. They have this conversation that's like, you know, whatever.
If you want you to talk more about this painting,
If you
let
want me
us
to talk
know.
more about the
Maybe
painting,
just do. I'm sure Jude would love to just talk about Armand and Marius and all that other shit. Like, just give them the chance. If you want to hear them
DM me.
talk about it, no. Force them to do the video.
Oh, we have to make content about it. Sorry, no one-on-one.
No one-on-one.
No. But yeah, I think my short thing is just like it reminds me a lot of that Michelangelo painting that we all got stickers of when we went to the Kimball.
Oh yeah,
it reminds me a lot of that one. But anyway, so they have this conversation about the painting and whatever, and they then start. Oh yeah, the "I serve a god" line is also crazy. We also can't get too much into that because it makes me feel like I'm insane.
We had to circle back around to that.
we have, but smack the mic. Anyway, so then they start
groan.
the groan. Oh God, he's here. No, so they start the meal, and the meal I have so many thoughts about as well. This episode is a lot to me. Because like a lot of it does this episode circle around or like introduce. Louis has planned this interview to have
dramatics,
like
actually.
interactive performance art elements, and the dinner is one of them because
like,
he's coming to terms with what it means to live that life and eat things that he needs to eat in order to survive. And so he serves this weird dinner with like ethically and legally dubious dishes for Daniel to eat. And then when Louis finally arrives, he with his little gold spoon in his pinky drinking the blood, which is crazy. They start to talk about like the complicated layers here that have immediately arisen from the dynamic inherent to maker and fledgling, which is there's a hierarchy. Their relationship now has an imposed hierarchy. And it's not a good look.
Once again, it comes back around over and over again.
There's also like in this, like, because we were talking about, and this is like related where like Lestat loves, it seems, to make fledglings, but hates to be a mentor because there's this offhanded line that he's like, vampires can read minds, and Louis like, how am I supposed to know? Like, I didn't get the handbook. Like, I just got turned into a vampire.
You just got turned into a vampire. Now what?
Yeah.
Bye. Someone got to write the book.
Yeah. Yeah, so Lestat, I also think, for a lot of reasons, is keeping a good amount of the vampire abilities close to the chest. I think both so he doesn't have to reveal what he has, and two, so Louis doesn't necessarily know all that he can have as well. I don't know. Or maybe Lestat just wasn't thinking about it. Maybe. He doesn't think about a lot of things. He's kind of dumb. He's not a big picture kind of guy. He's like
really
a next
he's very
10
in the moment
sort of guy.
Yeah. That's the
for
impulse.
A guy who lives forever. He doesn't think.
He needs to do a little bit better with that. That's where he gets into the situations he gets into.
Yeah. So this whole episode, yeah, we see Louis. He had been kind of keeping away from his family for a little bit because there's some changes to his appearance. He's got nails. He's got weird eyes that he didn't have before.
His mom just thinks it's because he's gay. I'm like,
yeah, you know, well,
he is gay, but also don't be fucking rude.
Yeah.
So when she was like, he's getting his nails done now, I'm like, can you leave him alone? Yeah. My God. And who cares he was? We love a man who actually takes care of himself. So
and gets pointed acrylic nails.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think like you see Grace trying you see Grace, I think like aptly her name is so apt. I feel like she's being so chill about the whole situation at this point.
Well, yeah. I'm a Grace defender. I don't care. Does she fuck up sometimes? Yes. I also feel like she should have defended Louis, especially in the moment when it comes to Florence like blaming him for Paul's death, and she should have stood up for her brother.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like this things, like I love that she at this point you can feel that she's as accepting as I guess one could hope for in this time period, in this area and whatnot, of Louis living his life as like a gay man. She just wants to see her brother, basically.
Yeah, she's just kind of like, I think, she's like, it's a
Happy,
better
you
you.
look
I'm glad
better
that you're
look.
happy, whatever. And then
it breaks my heart, to be honest. Their
relationship. It's but Louis had a not great. I think we skipped over the way that he ran over.
No, we do have to come back to that. We had to talk about that.
We're gonna talk about it now because I'm just like we need to jump back because there's like the vampiric things that he's struggling with, like, and the first one is when he runs out because he's disoriented, he's not in the right frame of mind, and he runs out and Lestat lets him get burned.
I see like, a lot. I saw a lot of people trying to say some shit about Louis because
Louis pushed him.
And I'm like, first of all, he didn't even know he was going to be pushing him that hard.
No.
And that's the one who's like trying to block him from leaving.
Well, he shouldn't have let him leave. The sun's out there.
Like he doesn't explain anything. Like, so Louis doesn't know what's going on. So of course he's like, I got to get out of here. Lestat,
but I also think in that state, do you think if Lestat was like, hey, the sun's going to burn you, Louis wouldn't have still pushed and tried to get out?
I don't know. And we're never going to know because Lestat didn't do that.
No.
Lestat hasn't explained anything well from the very beginning. He just kind of like, because he's impulsive. So he just does this shit and doesn't think about it at all.
No.
And now his fucking husband is running out fucking outside and burnt. It's all so crazy. And it also kind of speaks to the dynamic moving forward. And the imbalances there.
Yeah, and it goes along with that, like Lestat not telling him things and then being like, kind of like, I don't know, infantilizing him afterwards about it. So then he's just kind of like, little baby bird, come here.
I mean, Louis did say that he was... which was a crazy thing to say.
Well, fledgling, that's the word for a baby bird.
I know, but it's so crazy.
It is.
And it's crazy how many times... I also agree with Louis about how much Lestat was throwing around fledgling because it is quite crazy. This is supposed to be your husband.
Yeah.
You're this person who you want to make... who you pretend you want to make feel like an equal, but then at the same time, as soon as he does something you don't quite like, you're throwing out fledgling.
Yeah, it's like he uses it to chastise and not like
weird.
Affectionately or anything. I don't know.
It's very racially charged as well, just as Louis said.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have like this, and then when Louis, kills this guy who's disrespecting him, Lestat, who the whole time has been like, you should kill people, like take pride in killing. Louis does, and I get that maybe on the street, on the sidewalk, but like
I think
Lestat also isn't open to hearing Louis and hearing Louis out and like letting him explain himself, because like I guess Louis didn't start off the thing when he was just like, what did he do wrong? And he said I did a good job. Like, instead of being like, speak on that. Can you elaborate?
Elaborate on that.
He's just immediately like, you're crazy. Like, what's wrong with you?
But he's not open to listening. And that's kind of the thing. Especially when he starts off, his flirtations, the way he was trying to like, get Louis to kind of lure him in was by being like, I am so woke and I know all about racism. And these people don't fucking respect you. And then when Louis like, damn, these people don't fucking respect me, Lestat's like, why are we talking about racism?
Yeah. He's like, what does race have to do with this situation? And like Louis makes very plain like that there are complications here. There they occupy different spaces socially that make it so that Lestat is not understanding Louis and not seeing where he's coming from. And Lestat's just like, it makes it sound like it's not his problem.
I think part of it also, outside of just Lestat kind of being like a white liberal racist, basically, I think it's that Lestat really thinks that because Louis is a vampire now, race doesn't matter. And that's just not the case.
I think he really does.
He's still existing out in the world. He has to. Even if he's not entangling himself, if he decided not to entangle himself so much into the human world, he's still out there, though. He still has to be out there, and it's still going to affect him or affect others no matter fucking what. So, like, and he's not willing to hear that out, though.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't understand that, but he's also not willing to hear that out. So.
Yeah, and in this thing, like, they're having... It's like Louis talking to a wall. Like, Lestat's just not open to hearing about it because he's right, and if he's the only one who's right, and if Louis doesn't agree, then Louis just doesn't get it. Louis being immature.
Right.
And then in the next scene, that whole thing where like Lestat's saying all these things, the key thing he doesn't say is, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He never says, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I said that. I'm sorry that I'm sorry that even if he's like, I'm sorry that you felt hurt by my words.
He doesn't even say, do you want to like talk about how like this was racist and explain it to me? He's just like, I don't want to be angry. And Louis like, well, I want to buy this. And he's like, okay, I'll buy it. And that's fixes everything. And I'm like, here y'all go with the Band-Aids.
Before he even does that, he's still like, I think this is stupid that you want it, but I'll get it for you anyway because I love you.
Yeah. A Band-Aid. Band-Aids on Band-Aids on Band-Aids on Band-Aids.
This thing is, it's barely running already. But we still see that like Lestat is willing to at least pretend still. Like there's like Louis when he keeps saying like there was he had a way about him in these early years, and he does. Like you still see him like when Louis comes back from Grace's house. This next time he goes, where it's been a long time. I didn't realize how long it had been until I rewatched it, and you were like, "It's been 5 years." So I was like, 5 years.
I know. I'm like,
if I didn't see my sister, if my sister lived like half a mile away from me, that's walking distance. If I didn't see her for like a couple months, I would be like, "I'm outside.
Banging at the doors.
I'm outside.
Open up.
Open the door."
Open the fucking door. Honestly.
And I get that like Louis has weird hours. Louis can't go out to lunch or something.
And Grace has, twins.
Babies.
But
it's been 5 years. At least 2
5 years. Someone at that point should have already shown up at the door already.
Also,
somehow.
The Dulocks have servants. We've seen them.
Yeah,
she could leave him with somebody.
And Louis has even more. He's making even more money at this point.
Louis bragging about how much money he's making.
So like,
for a babysitter for your sister, so you can go out for dinner.
Yeah, well,
it's like
out for dinner.
He'll sit there with a bowl. If Louis had to eat a bunch of gumbos when they were in their courting stage, Louis can do the same.
That's true.
For his sister.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
After that's right. She's gone through.
Period. You're right.
Eat some glue. Eat some
paste.
Yeah, eat some dirt. It'll be fine.
Oh my god. But so like he comes back after almost eating his nephew, but he doesn't, and they said that they didn't. So everyone who keeps saying that he did, you shut the fuck up, including you, Jude, because you also used to say
I used to say because there was a lot of ambiguity.
And I was right.
I was
always a Louis defender. I was always a Louis defender. I was like, it didn't happen, and they confirmed it for me. So fuck off, everyone. And everyone stopped saying that about my wife. Anyways,
I saw, because we never saw that child ever again, and we do see the twins later, that I was like, what happened to him?
Nothing. He was on the fucking floor crying because Louis just left him there. But that's it.
There's a mosquito in my room. I got my own vampires I'm fighting.
Well, it's probably the stacks we've been kind of talking shit.
Yeah. Anyway.
He's like, shut the
anyways. One of the things I want to talk about, because it does tie into in my mind, the eating thing, which is the fox and the rabbit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The drama of it all.
Okay, Louis has had 2 theater husbands. Like,
and he's dramatic on his own.
Yeah.
He's dramatic on his own.
So take all of that, put it all together, and he's like, I'm ready.
He's like, let's art direct this. But yeah, so like, I think it's so in that scene where like he feeds Daniel a rabbit and then he's eating a fox. And I'm like, Daniel is in the prey seat, so to speak, and Louis consuming the predator while he's having that, like, right after he drinks it and says the vampires are killers whose all-seeing eyes, like, you know, allow them to see the life in its entirety, like, that whole thing. He gives that speech after consuming the thing that eats a rabbit. But anyway, I'm like, you're so annoying. But also in that scene when they're talking about the food and like Daniel's like, you've left out a couple of endangered species on the list, you know, of what he's giving Daniel. And I think part of it, and I've talked a lot about this to anyone who will listen to me, about how this dinner scene is, the dinner sequence and all the stuff in it is very important because it's Louis making Daniel complicit in unethical consumption, where he is eating things that are either not legal to eat or immoral to eat. He's like 5 seconds away from pulling out an ortolan. Like, it's just like having him eat these things that are overly indulgent so that he is in the seat of being uncomfortable with what you're eating because of the ramifications of it. And he's trying to have this like force an empathy with Daniel, have Daniel understand by putting Daniel in the seat, and Daniel refuses to empathize with Louis because I think one, he doesn't want to, and like he's still playing the role of like the hardened journalist who isn't going to get run over this time, but by doing that he's missing parts of Louis, you know. He's not seeing the full picture by assuming Louis a liar or by assuming that Louis has ulterior motives, whether he does or doesn't, because he's refusing to see the man in front of him.
Right.
And I just find that whole sequence with the food very interesting. But yeah, and then he goes back and to Lestat, and Lestat is trying to comfort him, and it is
sweet. It is very it is very sweet at first. It's very sweet. Yeah. And then he's like, but here's a solution. So like you're gonna like pretend to like be my little valet. Yeah. Because I'm not really thinking about the fact how humiliating it might be for you. Which is the other thing. Like the racial tensions have started from the very beginning of since episode 1, and they kind of just build and they really come to a head in episode 3, but even just like between Louis and Lestat, not like there's the greater racial tensions happening, but also they exist within this relationship as well. And it's just another way that like Lestat kind of fails to think about how Louis might feel right here. And at first Louis is, you know, indignant, rightfully, but Lestat does charm him.
I think there's something about that. Another thing where he sees that Louis is upset, and instead of saying, hey, I'm sorry about all this, he offers something else that he thinks is equal to, which is being a little vulnerable. Which he isn't very often.
Honestly, it's not wrong. Like I wish an apology would have came with the vulnerability, because Louis does appreciate vulnerable. I can't fucking say the word today. Does appreciate that. But you know, apology probably should have came with that.
And then like, you know, they see the tenor, and then immediately it switches to Louis being anxious about the whole encounter, because now this has turned. It's also to stop being selfish, because if he had just let it go, they could have still had a nice evening. Right. But now the thing that's supposed to be like a nice getaway for him and Louis turns into Louis being anxious about everything that's going to happen in regards to the hunt, because now Lestat's pissed off. And he could have just sat there and like bitched
And
about it with Louis, but instead he's like, I gotta kill this guy.
It's not even like a normal hunt, just like let's
kill
him, eat him. It's humiliating this man, which Louis hates even more. And then Louis is forced to pretend that he enjoys it at the very end. I did not personally find that scene horny. Some people have said that a little horny. Because I was too busy being, even from the very beginning, like the first time I watched it, I was so uncomfortable because like Louis not into it. He's just kind of having to pretend to be to pacify his angry husband. It's
I think for me, what I mean is like,
no, I know what you mean.
The whole setup of it is very.
I mean, it is erotic.
It's very erotic.
I think that's the word. It's erotic. Yeah, for sure. 100%.
They're both on either side of this guy, drinking him down.
Like
Lestat has his hand on the back of.
Down? Oh.
Yeah, he has his hand on the back of Louis' head and is like encouraging him.
His
and it's
big
like,
ass hand. On the back of his neck. Yeah. Like if Louis was into it, it would be hot. But
but I think like that's important as well, that it is like very erotic, because that kind of, in my opinion, leads into episode 3 where Louis like, I don't want to do this anymore, and Lestat's like, oh, so you hate me. Because he's like, you're not into me, you don't like me. Because a lot of the feeding, like at least that feeding scene that we see, is very erotic, and it's like Lestat's like, it's a bonding moment for us. It's a moment of intimacy and connection for us. Now that we don't have each other's minds anymore, we can at least share this. And Louis like, I'm not into it, and Lestat's like, I guess I'll kill myself.
Yeah,
like, you want me to die? Did you just say you want me to die?
You're rejecting me? Okay, you fucking hate me. Whatever. I guess I'll just go fucking jump into the sun. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need you to take a breath, actually.
And then the scene at the end with the desserts, which I think,
so good.
I have talked about this a cajillion times, but like, I do love that the whole time Louis eating with golden utensils, which like I guess makes sense for blood, because like for those who don't know, chefs eat with golden utensils because they don't have an aftertaste, so it gives you the purest taste. But Louis eats the human dessert with the gold spoons as well, but he can't taste it. So it's like this like, and then he's like, I do it to maintain a human thread. Like, I eat a human meal once a week. And I'm like, that feels like performative. Like, you're performing a gesture, especially if no one else is there. Like, what are you doing it for? But I think this moment where, like, after he's had Daniel eat all these really weird things that are of ethical dubiousness, giving him this dessert that Daniel wrote about, that he has a sentimentality to and a memory tied to it. And that's when we actually have Daniel offer something as well to Louis, something real about himself. And that's the human connection that's made in that moment. That's when Daniel feels like he is talking to Louis as a person. He's talking to Louis as someone who's also been in a difficult relationship. And you can tell that he feels like he's given something up as well. Like, Daniel's kind of like, I showed too much of my hand. I saw him too much as a person in this moment, but they let it sit and they kind of share the rest of this very quietly. And that's a really good scene to me as well. And I love it.
Even just a shot.
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't dedicate more time to talking about that shot.
Yeah.
But like,
That's amazing.
I remember when I saw it for the first time, I was like, this is insane. I'm going to think about this shot every single time I think about the episode. Like, that shot to me is so significant, the final one. But yeah, I love it. I love when a show has a very constrained like narrative device, and the fact that this whole interview takes place in the dining room.
Sorry, my cat is being crazy and
there she goes.
There she goes.
Yeah, I love that this whole interview she's running around. I just think that shot is so great. And I love when something has like a small like narrative framing device. So like the whole interview takes place in the dining room. It takes place during this dinner. And I just think it's really great.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. It's amazing. And then leading into episode 3, we kind of already started talking a little bit about things that kind of make headway into this episode. But it starts off, I just watched it.
It starts on the bench.
It starts on the bench, right? Okay, I was like,
Square,
there wasn't anything in Dubai, right? I'm like losing
No.
it. Okay, I didn't think so. I was like, maybe I just already forgot. Even though I just watched it today. But yeah, so like it starts off in, like you said, in the bench, in Jackson Square, which I got to visit when I went to
I've never been.
Yes. Well.
Wow.
Well.
Okay.
Anyways, so it kicks off there, and like, you know, Lestat is like talking about like little artistic history of the little square, and Louis like, oh, okay, well, did you know that they, you know, killed slaves here? Lestat's like, okay.
Yeah, and one of the things I was talking about was like, with you, because we kind of talked a little bit about what we wanted to talk about beforehand, that it was like, for me, this felt like Lestat's trying to be like, oh yeah, the park, whatever, and he even throws like in a little like, I preferred the previous name, the one that wasn't after Andrew Jackson, like to kind of be like ally. Yeah. Yeah. And then Louis just like, there's social like things have happened here, and Lestat's like, so why are you ruining the fun? Like he's like, I'm just trying to talk about it, and now I have to think about slavery. And it's just like, you had to think about slavery the whole time, my guy.
Yeah. No, like one
you're
other
in Louisiana.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to think about slavery.
Yeah. 100%. Honestly, that's kind of what I talked a lot about when I was kind of discussing this episode already, is that from the very beginning of this episode, we're already getting into, as mentioned even earlier about this previous episode, the racial tensions kind of like building here, because you have this conversation here with Lestat and Louis already, and Lestat just being like, okay, well, that's not quite as fun, essentially the vibe that it feels like, and then they like go and they're trying to decide, let Louis, he's indulging Louis a little bit, at least that's what he says, on, you know, who Louis is going to pick to feed off on. And I do think it's interesting that the first two folks that they come across are Black, and Louis like, nah, not them. Not them. And then the white guy that comes up, Louis like, I guess we can
kill this guy. But yeah, I think that's significant, but also like that whole thing where like Lestat always pretends like he's compromising, but he never is, because he's not actually giving it an honest try. He's being annoying and rude and dismissive the whole time.
Single time.
And even when Louis chooses a guy, Lestat is just like, fucking hurry up. Like, instead of allowing Louis to do what he's going to do and actually hunt, he grabs the guy for him and makes it like this whole big thing. And it just like adds an extra layer of like shame and derision on top of it. Like, if he had let Louis and been like, okay, that's the guy, all right, what are we doing next? Louis could have eaten the guy, you know? Like, he doesn't allow Louis to do things at his own speed, because for some reason Lestat acts like he's only got 30 minutes when he's immortal. Listen,
I'm like, you need to calm down. You have, for a guy who's a vampire who has you have centuries, like, you can, like, it's fine. I promise.
He's always like, how long is this gonna take?
I'm like, I need you to breathe. I need you to take a moment. Let's deep breath in, deep breath out, or whatever.
Yeah,
let's
come
take a
on.
moment. Let's take a moment, okay? Let's do some
Never in his
exercises.
life has he taken a moment. He's not going to start now. But yeah, and then Louis eats a cat instead. And
R.I.P. It was funny. My
R.I.P.
cat jumped up at this exact same time as he was like chomping into this cat, and I was like, "Ebony, don't look."
It's like close your eyes,
especially because it was like a black cat, wasn't it?
Yeah,
My
black cat.
oh my
But
god!
yeah, and then I think like this one is like a continuation of this like first trio of episodes of like Louis being like, who am I gonna be? And this one is him, I think, wrestling with, is it possible to be good and be a vampire? And then the question is, was he ever in the moral right? I think it's something he's also dealing with, like, having all of these questions, having all of these, things going on for him of like, who is he gonna be? And it's a complicated one.
It's a very complicated
Especially because you can feel
question.
him being pulled in all these directions, because he kind of still wants to be hotshot Louis de Pontelac, the Dark Prince of Iberville. And like there's the thing where he's just like, I'm helping out these other small businesses. And I'm just like, okay. He's like, it's not just about me, it's bigger than that. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
It's so, I think that's what I do like about this first season, and like it's very complicated. Like Louis is a gay black man in the South during Jim Crow. He's of a certain class. He wants to stay in the certain class. If anything, he probably would love to like move up, but like and so like he's wrestling with that on one hand, because he does desire that kind of privilege that he's just not really allotted. And whether or not it's a thing that you should be aspiring for, because you still harm others because of that. Capitalism, it's not great. But you also kind of empathize, because like at the same time, like it's a different kind of journey for a black man. And so I think also what I want to say in regards to this, while Louis is trying to figure out who he is, the fact that Lestat is not willing to kind of understand where Louis is coming from, because now Louis is like an actual like predator. Like they're all predators now. They're all monsters now. But as a black man, people have always seen him as that already, as is. Like, so like now he has to like accept that he actually is one all of a sudden. And now like the image of a violent black man that white society has tried to force onto blackness, all of a sudden now he has to like just do it. Like he doesn't have a choice. Like it makes sense why he would wrestle with that, and why he wouldn't just like so easily want to accept it right away. I don't understand why we can't understand that he's gonna have some growing pains there, and that's he's gonna have to figure himself out. And the fact that Lestat is just like really resistant to that shows that he doesn't understand. He doesn't truly understand what his black partner has, where he's come from, really. Even though he tries, he says that he does. He was like trying to break him from these bonds that he had as like a black man, who people not respecting him, but he didn't actually get it, and he's not willing to now either.
I also think, to go back a little bit, like Louis is always able to convince himself that the ways that he's making his money, it's always necessary. Like what he's doing is necessary. Like his like, my family, we were going to lose our trust fund. It's necessary that I go into brothel keeping. And then I think with this, you could have downsized. But like also then when he's here and he's like making all the money with the Azalea, he's like, all of this money is necessary because it's not just about me anymore, it's about the community. And then in Dubai, him being in Dubai, first of all, he's like, it's necessary because anonymity is really important to a vampire, and Dubai facilitates that for me. And it's like, you're giving money into a system that exploits people that look like you and your current partner to maintain that anonymity. It's kind of questionable.
It is questionable.
But he's like, it's necessary for my lifestyle. And it's like, you don't need to live in a multi-million-dollar penthouse. Most vampires don't.
Yeah,
but
you
he
really don't.
chooses to because he wants to keep a certain type of existence. And so in this episode is also where we start the at least overt, I don't know if it happened beforehand, but Lestat infidelity arc, where Lestat is being unfaithful with Antoinette Brown.
Also sinister.
Kind of not good. They look similar.
Whoa.
Have you ever thought about that? Lestat and Antoinette kind of look similar.
No, I have. I just
when you said sinister, I was like, that's what I drew too.
I was more thinking that is also sinister because of
reasons. There's that
we'll probably get into in season 3,
like when he's embracing her, and like they have like the same hair. Like, it's a weird scene. I
was also more thinking that it's weird because he does choose
a white woman on purpose.
A white woman on purpose because to kind of show Louis, look how easy that this is so much easier. Like, and you're giving me all this trouble.
Yeah.
And I could just be with a white woman.
And it's he's trying to goad Louis as well. He's like, if I can make him
not just a white woman, but a white woman who makes racist comments.
Yeah, I was also thinking
in front of Louis. That was crazy.
Yeah, I was thinking.
It sounds like she's bisexual.
Maybe, but when she said I like soft hands, I think she was trying to say that Lestat had a soft touch, because she looks at him when she goes, I like soft hands, and then turns around and she's like, I like burnished complexions when she looks at Louis.
I thought it's because like she's like, don't worry, like, see, I'm hip, we're all queer.
That's the thing we're saying in the club, we're all fam.
Literally, like, I'm like, that's what I got for that. But you're probably right. The reason why I didn't think that, because I was like, she's going, because then she also comes back to Lestat with the bad daddy. I was like, that's the thing that she's addressing him with, bad daddy. Louis gets fucking racist fucking language, and then she starts with like, yo, yeah, because she was like, oh yeah, me too, because he's like, I like little whatever, she's like, yeah, me too, I like soft hands. That's why I was like,
oh, you like women?
You like women? You're still racist. But
yeah. Well, what I was gonna say also is I find this change with Antoinette in the show really, really interesting, because like and the original version of like this character in the book was a guy named Antoine who looked very similar to Louis. And every single night, like, Lestat would go out to spend time with Antoine, and he would be like, maybe I'll kill him tonight. Which is crazy. But also whenever he would leave to be with Antoine, Louis was like, thank God, time to myself, where Lestat's not in the house. But in this version, it's the complete opposite. Antoinette, a woman who is Louis' complete opposite. She looks completely opposite to him. And Lestat is like, I'm not gonna kill her. And it's the not killing her, because Louis immediately is like, did she burn quick? Assuming that Lestat drained and burned her. And Lestat is like, I'm not doing that. And keeping her around for that as a way of poking at the insecurity. Whereas like in the novel, Lestat doing that is being like, I could get rid of you at any moment. And then in this one, it's still, I could go with her. It would be easier for me to be with her, but I'm choosing to be with you because I love you or something. But I just really like how that adaptation changed it, because it would have been a very different vibe if they had kept it the same, like him going with a guy who looks exactly like Louis.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the same energy.
It would be weird in a different way.
It would be weird in a different way.
I'm like, Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm weirded. I would be weirded out either way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would just have
He's like,
different.
it makes it feel like Louis disposable, where in this one it feels like Lestat's like, I'm choosing to make my life difficult to be with you because I feel like you're worth it. Prove it to me.
Yeah.
And then the whole situation gets turned on Lestat because when he's like, I like variety, Louis like, so that I can also have variety, and Lestat's like, yeah.
Oh,
He's like, oh, I thought we were talking about me.
I thought you just like books.
Yeah, because he keeps being like, I'll go out and have all these carnal pleasures, and I guess you'll stay home and read, because he's like, if you don't want to sleep with me, then you want to sleep with anybody, right? And so when Louis just like, oh, so I can sleep with other people, Lestat's like, why would you want to do that? Just like him being like, yeah, we could have variety. We're gonna be together 100,000 nights, and Louis just like, oh, cool, variety.
Cool.
And he's like,
whoa, no. Oh wait, okay, wait. This is not going the way I thought it was.
Yeah.
And who did Louis?
Who did Louis find? He finds
Jonah. Sorry, I'm just waiting to talk about Jonah. Oh my god, I love Jonah. I miss him. I wish I got to see him again. A beautiful man. This is the best kiss in all of season 1. No,
you were like gonna say the show, and then you're like, Armand though.
Oh, the thing is, it's kind of tied. Sorry, it's the specific. There's a specifically modern kiss that I would say is tied with this kiss, because this kiss, I need Jacob to kiss more black men. That's what you're
like, not even Louis. I need Jacob.
Because Jacob be kissing real good. And I need to see more of it. But I also specifically would like to see Louis as well kiss more black men. Please kiss your lawyer.
Yeah, you cast Moses Sumney. That's gotta be for a reason.
I'm actually suing if they don't kiss. I need to see it on screen. I need to be sloppy. I need it to be at least 10 minutes long.
10 minutes, my God.
Thank you. You gotta warm up foreplay. You gotta take some time with that. Okay. Anyways, that kiss, beautiful.
Yeah, this is another thing too. Scene. His flirting is like being like, have you seen my nice car? Have you seen my nice shoes? And I also think it's interesting that Grace set him that way. Mm-hmm. That he was like, I went to your old house and they told me to find you here. So, and then I think with the previous time when like Louise talked to Grace and she's like, you're still with Lestat, right? Like, yeah, she's trying to get him to have a new boyfriend.
Yeah. She's like, have you considered, we've had this European white for a little good enough minute.
Yeah, we're sick of this guy. Get a new guy in here.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and then they go off to the bayou. They have
it's so romantic. It's so beautiful.
In the mud.
It's still okay. It's still beautiful because they're what they say to each other, like, "Oh, the moonlight." I'm like, stop! I'm blushing. Anyways, but who didn't appreciate it?
Lestat
didn't appreciate it.
But yeah, they go back, and one of the things I think is really interesting in the scene too is that it's not just the sex that's something that Louis kind of like tiptoeing around, but he sees the bite mark that he bit into his own arm because he almost tore into Jonah, but in order to stop it, he bit his own arm. And Louis kind of hides that too because the feeding is tied with the sex. It's the same issue here where Lestat wants sexual intimacy. He also wants Louis to feed the way that he does and feed with him. So like these issues are tied together. So Louis, it's all the shame is being tied into this one big like knot here,
right?
And like you can kind of feel like for a bit maybe that Lestat's like trying to be like, well, I'm not going to see Antoinette again, to be like, I'm recommitting to you, hoping that Louis will then do the same for him. Not like Louis then was like, cool, I have another date tomorrow night. Like he just was like, it's a one and done. He's like, I don't really think it's whatever. And then Louis goes to visit his family because I think, talking to Jonah, and when he's like, he hasn't seen the girls.
He literally reminds him that the twins have a birthday.
Yeah. So
And
he's
so
like,
he's
oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, fuck.
Well, because also he mentions that they didn't send him an invite.
But you know,
which, like,
also,
he probably hasn't
was,
gone.
Yeah, if he was keeping track, he would still know that it's his niece's birthday.
Yeah.
He hasn't been doing that, but he also didn't get an invite. It's like, once again, both sides just.
But we also hear that it was 6 months since his last appearance this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not as long.
But I always wonder what happened at the last one that made everybody go outside to keep him from coming in.
Yeah.
Like, things have not been good. Things have been tense and weird. And so Louis like, I'm showing up, I'm going to give the gifts, and then I'll leave. So and then I think with a lot of stuff, a lot of times Louis gets in this cycle where he represses his feelings, has a big blowout, and then goes back hard on the repression when it's like, you need outlets, because each time you're just going to have a huge blowout. And in this moment, he has this huge blowout where he kicks in the door. He could have hit one of the girls. He doesn't know. But like, that's the last straw where they're like, you are done. You are done. You're not coming back. Because now we're scared of you and we think you're dangerous. Yeah. And then
he comes back to some bullshit. He comes back to some bullshit.
Lestat's invited every soldier to be in the house. And something I find interesting is because I noticed this time that at the beginning of the episode, before he even starts talking about the park, Lestat's checking out 2 soldiers as they're walking by. Mm-hmm. In every episode, Lestat has checked out someone else when he's hanging out with Louis.
I know. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of nerve.
Yeah. And so he checks out these 2 white soldiers. Yeah. And then the house is full of all of these white soldiers. And then when he brings up to Louis, like, well, not brings up, when Louis is just like, what's going on? Lestat's like, well, I know you have a type now, i.e. soldiers, but he's like, you can have it in a way that's palatable to me,
only
which
Caucasian.
is these white people.
But which also, also goes in, I don't think we had a discussion. Well, actually we did, I think, a little bit.
I said in episode 2, the first person that Louis wants to eat is a Navy man as well, but then also goes into this too. Sorry,
don't beat that up.
Bring it up. That Lestat's might be like, oh, so it seems there's a pattern.
No, that's what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about the fact that Lestat seems to get very insecure when Louis does start wanting to be with anyone who's not white, basically. Yeah. I think also he's kind of jealous of that connection, because there's a connection here with Jonah and Louis. There's obviously like a connection from the past. Like they had a thing before, but also I think it's the fact that they're both Black. So Louis can also relate to him in a different way. And that's why that insecurity pops up. And he's like, well, you can only have these white soldiers. This is what you get. Because also this comes back around to season 3 that's coming out. Yeah. And in the trailer, the little teaser trailer, when Armand is talking about Armand. Lestat's
talking about Armand.
Lestat's talking about Armand and his relationship with Louis. And Lestat is like, Santiago, who looks blonde, has white energy very similar to Lestat. When he's like, Santiago, I could have seen, but Armand,
which
and
is rich, like, coming from Lestat.
I know. I'm like, okay. I'm like,
it's like you both have.
It feels like there's this like weird insecurity coming where you don't love the fact that Louis can have these other relationships with people of color. Yeah. And I think also especially they can understand each other better. And I think that he gets nervous about that.
And I think the thing that's also like an undercurrent is like Jonah knew Louis at a time when Lestat hadn't known him. So like they do share an intimacy there, at least of like him having experiences with Louis that Lestat will never be privy to. And then Louis and Armand were together for 77 years and they have a whole life that Lestat has not a clue about. And like, then Louis as a taunt throws out a little intimate moment between him and Armand when he's like tracing numbers on each other's back and pretending to guess wrong, which makes me still feel crazy.
And then Lestat gets weird
so
again
angry. He gets
not just about that. He gets so weird again just at the little hand touch when he
when Louis
reaches out
touches his
for his
lawyer.
lawyer, which is again a black man. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
Lestat, I'm gonna need you to ease up because you're starting to suspect.
Lestat is very insecure about being with a person of color, especially I think someone as self-possessed as Louis. Because like while on the one hand, I think Lestat thinks that he wants someone who will take him to task and like, you know, argue back with him. When Louis does that, Lestat realize like I think it's like I don't have control over this situation, and is like like you need to stop. Like Lestat is very insecure. He moves through as a very confident person, but he is deeply insecure, and when he's insecure he makes it everyone else's problem, and he can be very dangerous.
And we see this pattern again while Louis and Claudia's relationship obviously isn't romantic, but they also are able to connect in a way that Louis and Lestat can't as well.
Yeah.
And he also gets very insecure about their relationship.
I think it's really interesting that like there is a potential like Louis can read Armand's mind. Louis can read Claudia's mind. Honestly, Louis can read Jonah's mind. So like there is this like they do have the telepathic intimacy, but like he does not have that with Lestat, and I think that also makes Lestat really insecure. Lestat's like, and like when he's not able to tap into Louis' thoughts anymore and has to rely on his words, where he doesn't ask him anything, if you've noticed. So then he's like in this space, and it's like, you could ask him. You could talk about it, but you won't. Because what if you hear something you don't like anyway? But yeah, so they have that big fight. And the scariest, I still think this is one of the scariest scenes, especially in the first half of the season, which is when Lestat makes all the soldiers leave the house. I always have thought of that as like he took like the shotgun off the wall and fired it into the air, because it's like, I could do this. I could force you to do things, but I choose not to. But I'm going to show it on someone else. I'm going to show you a big power play that I have on another person, but I'm not doing it to you. But know that I can do this. Like that's how it's always felt
all of them
to me.
out just like that. It was uncomfortable.
And it's very scary. And I know that it's a setup for something in season 2, but it's also terrifying in that moment. And then, you know, they have the whole big fight about like, you know, Lestat being like, you know, you have feelings for him and whatever, and Louis like, who cares, you know, if I do or if I don't, that's not the point.
Jonah's about to leave anyway, so
he's like, I can't see him again. He's gonna be
like
he could die, like, you know, he's going into the war, like, you know, it's a non-issue that becomes an issue. But then also on top of it, Louis learns he's losing his business.
Lestat is like that guy who's like, let's open up the relationship, babe, and then he gets on Reddit and he's like, why is my wife getting like 10,000 DMs? Like, what the fuck?
And it's not even that. It's like it's that same reaction where it's like, my wife got a single DM and I'm gonna end it all. My wife went on one date and I'm thinking about crashing my car with us both inside.
Stop, please. Oh my god.
Like, he's like, I don't know. He's unhinged. But yeah, so then also in the middle of all of this, Louis' no good, very bad evening where he then learns that he's losing, they're forcing his business to close. And he does something that I think, I know it's an iconic gif. It is very stupid because the people who are in danger is not him. It's his employees when he puts that sign on his door. Like,
also, I'm tired of people making the joke, oh, he goes back to his white boyfriend or his white husband after, like, oh god, y'all have been making that, I mean, like, since the beginning of time. Like, it's not funny anymore. It's not funny. It's not Come up with something new. Anyways, I'm a hater.
In that same conversation though, like, Louis tries to make it like he's like, this is about all of us. And then Lestat's like, what about your other businesses? And Louis like, they don't make enough money. And he's like, so it's about money.
Yeah, like,
and Louis like, you don't get it. And
you kind of
then
got you right through this a little bit.
and then he paints the sign and shows it to Bricktop, and
Bricktop's like,
Bricktop
I'm gonna
says that's
speak for all of us. That's a fucking stupid idea.
yeah.
Like,
And it gets to place trash, and we never find out what happened to the women who worked there.
yeah, that's true.
We never hear from them again. We do not know what
Fuck.
happened to them.
Oh my god, that is true.
Louis doesn't check up on them or doesn't have the opportunity to. They are gone. So,
yeah. I didn't realize that.
we never see them again. We never see them again.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened to them. We do know that the place got trashed, though, but we don't know what happened to them.
Yeah.
And so then this whole Louis goes off and he kills the alderman. It's one of those scenes where you're like, yeah, and then the immediate fallout, and you're like, no.
I know. Even after seeing it like 1,000 times, I was still like, this is so satisfying. And then immediately after, I'm like, and everything's fucked.
Yeah.
And this is another place where it's like, Lestat doesn't fucking get it. Like,
yeah.
Louis like,
about it, like
Louis realizing now finally, like, like, which is not his fault. This is not his fault at all. Like, he can't control these fucking white people.
No.
It's not his responsibility to control these white people. And honestly, fucking that man up, iconic. But what happens because these white people are evil is that they take it out on the whole fucking community. And Louis is distraught and realizing what has happened as a result. And Lestat's like, let's make this our anniversary because now you fully come into realizing you're a vampire and now we can be together. And Louis like, bitch, what the fuck? Do you not see what's going on? People are dying. People are losing their homes because of, he blames himself. He's like, because of me. And I'm like, he's like,
yeah, and I think
what are you doing? What are you doing? It's so insensitive, and people sometimes get mad at Louis for being like, for saying Lestat's gonna be alone. He's better than what I would have done. So that's all I'm gonna say.
And I think this last conversation is also a parallel to the bench scene, where it's like once again Lestat is talking about this situation aesthetically from like a detached point of view, and then Louis like, but stuff is happening right now. There is a social reality that is directly informed by and like it surrounds these events that are happening. So like while Lestat is enjoying the aesthetic of the murder, Louis is staring the ramifications direct, like head on, because like he can't separate himself from it because it's impossible to do so and irresponsible to do so. And he can't be irresponsible the way that Lestat is. Lestat can like toddle around and do stuff, but Louis doesn't have that freedom, and it's Louis realizing that he does not have even as a vampire, does not have the freedoms that Lestat has, and Lestat can't understand why.
That's literally all that I was going to say. It's like, this is like the clearest moment of displaying that being a vampire does not remove Louis from his blackness. Like he's still black at the end of the day, and he's still going to be treated as such, and he's and it's still going to also affect the surrounding community. Like it's just,
it doesn't erase
vampirism doesn't save him.
It doesn't remove you from this, like from systems. Like you still exist as long as you're gonna like live in a society. You have to. You are beholden to how society perceives you. But like whiteness, and I think for a lot of like white queer people, their whiteness is invisible to them. They don't see whiteness. They see other things, but they don't see it and how it affects the way they live in the world, because it's an absence of something. They don't have the hurdles, so they assume the hurdles aren't there. And then when someone else is like, these hurdles are there, they're like, I've never experienced them. Especially like, because I think for white queer people, when they occupy one axis of oppression, they're like, that's never been the case for me. And it's like, well, there's other things.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
other ways in which people can experience oppression. And sometimes these things overlap and create new specific types of oppression. But then at the end of this episode, we get Claudia. We get Claudia. It's Claudia time.
Claudia time. And that's how it ends.
Yeah, with
this
Claudia.
Took much longer than we said we were going to take. But it's fine. You all enjoyed it. And y'all were like, wow, this is such a fruitful and amazing discussion and recap. And we appreciate it so much. And we can't wait to tune back into the next discussion and next recap. And so we loved it so much. We're like gonna subscribe and like and comment and everything.
Yeah, and follow us on Twitch and all of that.
Other things, so we can spill more insight and our thoughts and bullshit. But yeah. So I guess that's kind of it for our recap for those 3 episodes. Honestly, I don't know what we expected trying to fit 3 episodes in a short amount of time. It's just not realistic.
It wasn't going to happen, unfortunately.
But we hope
I stopped timing after we steamrolled through the 15 minutes. I'm like, this 15 minutes is irrelevant.
This is not.
When I was looking and we were like not even past the beginning, and I looked and I was like,
I know.
It was 5 minutes.
I know. When you said that, I was like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, like it's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen for us.
We'll see how much we cut this down to. Anyways, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Like I said, I want to hear what you guys think about, those first 3 episodes. Obviously I've been in the fandom since the start of the show. I've been here even before that. As I like to say, so everyone knows I was here first.
You're like, I have seniority.
But yeah, I still, anything you want to comment on anything that we said or your own thoughts, put it down. That's kind of it. Even if you disagree, but you can't. You can't disagree. No, you can disagree.
I thought you were just saying you can't disagree, and I was like, oh, okay.
No, I was saying that you can, but you're probably wrong. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Oh my god. Okay. Anyways. Oh my god. No, for real. Thank y'all for joining us. For real. We're gonna dip now because it's late. Bye.